Hello there, and welcome to Third Lining It, where I talk about what not to do and why not to do it through the lens of the human design system. And so fundamentally what I'm talking about here is called the not self. This is basically the shadow self. This is that aspect of you that can trip you up with ignorance and confuse you about things that don't really matter in one way, shape, or form. And so when we're talking about human design, one of the first things we look at is called the body graph. And so right here you'll see we have this shape. We have this energy centers all connected into a body graph. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 energy centers. And so these represent essentially what was called the chakras in ancient Hindu Brahmin traditions. These were the energy vortexes or wheels through which the physical reality operates. It's kind of like a way of looking at the quantum field and the way of seeing certain predictable elements within it that will then manifest reality. And so here we have these 9 energy centers. This is called the body graph. And you can see that there are 1, 2, 3 of these centers that don't have any color in them. And basically what that means is they are undefined energy centers. And with an undefined energy center, that means that this theme of life is not consistent. It's not fixed in any particular way. And so it generally operates as an amplification system, wherein other people with fixed definition in those centers will bring an energy pattern into your aura, and then due to the nature of the mind within this open field, it will amplify what's in there and get caught up in the amplification rather than the actual fact of the matter. And so when we're talking about the not self, these open centers become a deep foundation as towards what's happening here within the mind to try and survive. Because essentially what happens is that our mind is looking to survive, and our mind is used to making the decisions. It's accustomed to making decisions. You know, think for yourself, use your head, as people say. And it's used to making decisions for the body because this was the way for about 90,000 years. And then 1781 occurred, the year, and there was an evolution in our biological infrastructure as human beings. And the mind no longer is the ruler of the life. We can actually allow our bodies to live their life and to use the mind as an avenue for self-reflected consciousness to express itself in a unique way from the vantage point of truth being what this being is. For you see, the mind gets caught up in these open centers because they're not fixed. And that means they're not consistent, and it's going to be amplifying it. However, that means that these energy centers here that are colored in, you'll see there's lines of wiring that are connecting them. These are called channels. And when you have a channel that connects 2 energy centers, that means that these 2 energy centers have a fixed relationship with each other, and they can communicate back and forth and exchange energy through this specific pattern of what that channel is. And so it means we have these 5 centers right here. Well, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's actually 6 centers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 centers here are defined, and the 3 are undefined. So these 6 centers represent the potential for difference in this being, the potential to live in a different way and to express something new and unique, so that we can hear something fresh, you know, and we're not hearing the same old story over and over again that we've heard so many times. And so in what's called the true self, this person would be able to live in accordance with these defined energy centers and they would be allowed to express themselves through the wisdom of the undefined centers. And so what we're looking at here is what's called a splenic ego generator. You see, they're a generator aura type. And I know that because of this defined sacral center right here. If you have a defined sacral center, you're always a generator in one way, shape, or form. This is the sacral center, which is generating the life force of biology. And so this is the generative principle in life. It's generating reality for us in that sense. And so by being a generator with this aura type, if the person can trust their inner gut response in the moment, you see, they're not emotionally defined. They do not have a defined solar plexus, so they don't have to wait for clarity. In this moment right now, they can trust their sacral to guide them via yes or no, going towards something or going away from something. For you see, there is this keynote of wait to respond as a generator. And the irony of this is the notion of waiting to respond. For you see, the thing is you are always responding to something. It could be as simple as a change in the ambient temperature. It could be as simple as the body language of another person. It could be basically anything other than what you're thinking about. If you can respond to something other than what you think about thinking about things. Because we get so caught up in thinking about thinking. And if you're caught up in thinking about things, and how other people feel about those thinkings, then you're going to lose your natural body response, and you're not going to honor that, and therefore you'll exist in frustration. For you see, there is a binary for the sacral center, for the generator type, and that is frustration on one end, when you're not listening to the inner guidance system of yes or no from your gut. Your body will tell you. If you're not listening to that, you exist in frustration, because you're not using your energy in a way that fulfills you, in a way that completes you and goes forward in your purpose. Whereas if you are actually using your energy correctly, you exist in a frequency of satisfaction. And quite literally, the people around you can pick up on that satisfaction. You don't have to tell them, oh, I'm feeling so good right now. Because the aura talks. They can literally see it on your body when they look at you. When they're close to you, their body picks up on that energy because you're generating reality. And if you're generating a frustrated reality, other people are going to pick up on that, and they'll be able to amplify that frustration and throw it back at you. You know, how much fun is that? Whereas if you're existing in satisfaction because you trust your inner GPS as a generator, then you're existing in this frequency that draws people to you, this deeply attractive frequency that is drawing what belongs to you into your life. Because the signature frequency of the generator is satisfaction. So if you're a generator, like this person, and you are not experiencing that body feeling of satisfaction every single day of your life, then you're not listening to your body. Plain and simple. And so for this person, we're first going to talk about what's happening when they're not listening to their body. You see, the most important thing for this person is this undefined solar plexus center. In the amplifying mind that is needing to amplify everything, this is the most important thing. This is, I need to avoid conflicts. I need to avoid problems. I need to avoid pain. I need to avoid the truth. And it will do anything to avoid the truth, to avoid that pain, to avoid causing problems. And it'll allow that to build. It'll allow that to build over time of, yep, I'm going to ignore that problem until it got so big I couldn't possibly ignore it, and boom, it overwhelmed me. I couldn't see it coming. I had no idea, they say. And yet they were ignoring it. They were ignoring it the whole time. Up here in the undefined ajna center This is the need to be certain about things. For you see, in the undefined ajna, there is no consistent conceptualization process. This is the very foundation of how one thinks. Are we thinking in a narrow and fixed band that is always going to be thinking this way? Or are we thinking this way or that way or the other way and amplifying the way other people think, and then other people give us a good idea, so we think, we pretend that idea they gave us was certain, and then we find ourselves in trouble because it's not always true. Because this person can't access certainty. Without a defined ajna, you can never be certain in life. Up here in the head center, this is the crown chakra, and this provides the inspiration for thinking. This is the pressure to think. And you'll see in this energy center, they have one gate defined, the 61. This is an element of inner truth. So there is a specific quality of inspiration, a quanta, if you will, not a quantum, not a fixed definition, however, a piece of information, a data point that will be consistent in their inspiration. There is some bigger picture, and it is their own personal inner truth. However, due to this center being undefined, this head center, the person generally does not know what truly matters or not, and tends to be preoccupied with what does not matter. Specifically with what does not matter. That is what's most important and interesting. And so along that path of discovering what their inner truth is, they're going to be distracting themselves with things that don't matter so that they can avoid confronting the truth in one way, shape, or form. Because they want to be able to delay it. Because as soon as the mind actually sees itself, it knows it's powerless. And so essentially the mind will do anything it possibly can to pretend and convince you that it is still in control, and that if you listen to me as the mind, I will tell you what to do and we will succeed next time. I know it didn't work out last time, or the time before that, or the time before that, but next time I swear we've got it this time. Because they're avoiding conflicts, pretending to be certain about things that don't matter. And something interesting about these undefined centers, you may notice in this head center, there is one gate activated, as I mentioned. Here in the ajna, however, there is nothing activated within the ajna itself. There's this 62, these quality of details pointed at the ajna. However, the ajna itself is wide open. And the same goes for the solar plexus, completely wide open. There is this 35 pointing at it, and yet there's nothing active within it. And so this gives two themes in life wherein this individual has actually already surmounted challenges in a previous lifetime. So now I'm getting a bit metaphysical here, or mystical. And it is said that when you see an energy center that is completely unactivated, wide open, nothing in it, that in a previous lifetime, they have actually completed all of the lessons there is to learn within that theme of life. So when it comes to emotionality in this solar plexus center, when it comes to conceptualizing in this ajna center, this person has actually already mastered them in a previous lifetime. And so their thoughts and their emotions do not belong to them whatsoever. And that can be a really big pill to swallow. Every single thing you think and feel about doesn't really belong to me? How is that possible? Well, due to this nature of having completed the lesson in a previous lifetime, in this lifetime, the wide open center gains a unique quality of it. It's somewhat similar to that of a reflector, in that there is kind of an either aloofness or a toughness about it that allows them to really attune to the world around them. So when it comes to emotions, feelings, and thinking, the concepts in the mind for this person, every single thing that goes on in those two dimensions of life, these are two awareness centers. These are a big deal. It's already been sorted, and it's all about being in tune and in touch with the life and the world around you in this lifetime. What is the world needing for emotional wisdom? What is the world needing for logical, conceptual, abstract, individual, conceptual wisdom, for how to think? What does the world need to see and hear and experience in order to gain the wisdom over these emotions and over this thinking process? That's what this person can give to the world in a very attuned way, is that this is what the world needs, and the wisdom potential is there. The potential is there. And you see, it's not guaranteed to unfold. It's only possible to unfold if this generator aura, if this generator person is going to trust their gut. If they can trust their gut, then the wisdom can unfold, and they can detach from these concepts and feelings that aren't actually who they are, and not identify with what isn't them, so that when they express themselves, it's coming through clearly without bias. Because you see down here in the splenic center, this is very fascinating to see. There's tons of channels in the splenic center, because you see it connects through this 37, or rather the 57 to the 10, the 57 to the 34, the 32 to the 54, the 18 to the 58. All of these centers are coming out, all of these channels are coming out from the splenic center, which is very fascinating to see such a powerfully defined splenic center, which is the first awareness center. You might have remembered earlier I mentioned that this ajna center is an awareness center, and this solar plexus center is an awareness center. These two are completely undefined. In a previous lifetime, their lessons have been completed. And then we look over here at the spleen, the first awareness center, the original. This is instinctual. This is animals and mammals and plants. You know, the insects, all the creatures we look around us, all the life forms have this awareness center, and we share it with them. And there's all this definition coming out from it. And so from this person being able to trust their sacral response in the moment, they're actually able to witness this radically empowered survival creature, this force of life that can not only survive for itself through its own capacity for integration, it can also provide communication to others that can allow them to know when, where, how, why their behavior is not leading to transformation. You see? And that can only happen out of response. Because this person's a split definition, after all. And so you might have noticed I said there's these 6 centers defined. And they're quite close to each other, however, they are actually split off from each other. For you see, you have this throat center connected to the heart center via the 45, 21, and then there's this 26 hanging and not connected to the 44 in the splenic center. And then over here on the spleen, you got connections to these 3 other centers. Whereas over here, there's only 2. And so not only do those 3 themes of avoiding conflicts, pretending to be certain, and busy with things that don't matter, not only are those in play, there is also the need to find the bridges of whatever will connect these together. And there are tons of them, because you see it's right here, there's a 16, right here there's a 20, here there's a 31, and in here there's a 44. So the 44, the 31, the 20, and the 16. This person needs to be able to identify with, express, and demonstrate the leadership qualities of somebody who is not going to go extinct, of somebody who knows that their people will survive. And in the not-self, that's what they need so much in their mind. They need to be certain that they can behave in such a way that they will survive. And in their mind, they need to be clear on that. And that's the not-self. However, the actual body itself knows how to survive very well. And yet, if the mind is being amplification, if the mind is busy amplifying things rather than witnessing, then it's far too busy avoiding problems, pretending to be certain about things that don't matter, to actually be able to allow this survival force to do its job. For you see, they have this channel, the 952 down here. I actually have this channel myself. And this is a channel and a format energy of concentration. It gives them this logical capacity to focus in and concentrate on something to accomplishment. And so that's going to be throughout everything they do. However, if they're too busy amplifying things that don't matter because they're avoiding the conflict, then they're not going to be concentrating on something that matters. They're going to be lost in these black holes, these abysses of, I've already solved this problem, and yet why am I getting lost in it? It's like my resource isn't there anymore. I don't know what happened. And the thing is in response, the wisdom can come through. However, with over-identification and amplification, there's no chance for the response to come through. With that amplification system taking over, it essentially becomes ignorance that becomes the driving force. And it's a self-fulfilling ignorance because it has to remain ignorant. You see, the mind has to remain ignorant in order to convince you that it is in control and that it's smart to leave it in control. Because I know it didn't work out last time, but maybe it will this time, I promise. And I'm certain about it. I'm certain we can avoid the problem this time because I'm focused on something that doesn't matter. And they may not use those words. However, in the mind, if the mind is making every decision, that's the fundamental quality of what's being done underneath the surface. And yet the thing is, the beauty of this person, the power of this person, is that if they are waiting to respond, if they can trust their gut intuition and instinct in the moment, not deal with the amplification of the emotions from other people, allow that to come and go. If they can trust that gut response in the moment, then not only can they survive almost any circumstance, they can provide this quality that brings success where others would fail and failure where others would succeed. For you see, this 4629, this is personally one of my absolute favorite channels in the entire body graph because of what I had just mentioned. Success where others fail and failure where others succeed. So there are people who can get away with the mental decision making, letting the mind get lost in all this ignorance. And there are some people who have a specific kind of ignorance that is rewarded in the modern world. Then there are some people who have a form of ignorance that they were born with that is not successful in the world. And they have to actually start to wake up. They have to start to see for themselves and to honor their body in order to truly succeed at all. And this is most likely going to be one of those people, because if they're trying to live the ordinary life that everybody else lives, they're going to fail because other people succeed there. And if they're able to trust their body and to concentrate in and allow the unconscious to lead so that the conscious can witness what's unfolding, if they allow that, then they could succeed where no one else could. No one. And with that success where no one else could find it, due to these two channels between the root and the spleen, it has this logical quality about it wherein it's a perfecting of the pattern that can be applied at the collective level that other people can practice and follow along with. It's also connected with this 3254. Now this is the capacity to transform the material plane for success. And over here in this integration, there is the individual's capacity to survive right now and to be busy doing something that is guided by their own intuition, their own immune system, this spleen, this survival awareness. It's in the body, it's in the unconscious. You can see that it's basically all red channels here. These are red gate activations, this 34, this 57, this 10, and therefore it's in the unconscious. So this body itself knows how to take care of itself and survive, to integrate this moment and to keep going forward. However, that's the body. The body knows how to do that. The mind isn't even aware that the body is necessarily good at doing that. And so if the mind tries to take over that job from the body, then the wisdom that they could be sharing with other people is instead abusing themselves and constricting themselves into ever-tightening chains of impossible limitations. Because you see, that mind, everything we're thinking about up in here is for the purpose of sharing wisdom with other people. It has nothing to do with telling you what to do. This mind has no idea how to tell me what to do. I let the body tell me what to do, and I feel satisfaction. I tell you what. I remember letting this mind tell me what to do all the time. I was so stressed out. I had all these acne problems and everything. Man. And you know, I got an undefined ajna like this person as well. It's incredible being able to think in all kinds of different ways and not having a fixed, rigid system through which I am always thinking this way. And I'm not, because I can think in all kinds of different ways. And so can this person. This person can think in not only any kind of way, this person actually can think in a way that is so beautifully attuned to the world around them, with the facts and details to back it up, to get other people to recognize their inner truth. And they can deliver those goods. Only if they're waiting to respond. Only if they're trusting their response to lead the way. Because after all, they have a lot of power. This 14th gate hanging, this gives the strength that can really power through things and accumulate and build it up. The thing is there is no second gate here. The second gate is not activated, it's a receptor. And because of that, that power does not have a natural orientation. It does not have a natural direction for that fuel to go in. And so this person is most likely occupied, avoiding conflicts, pretending to be certain about things that don't matter. And yet, if they have that potential to trust their body, they can witness an unfolding, wow, that could shock anyone. And I suppose that's about all I have for the moment. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I'll talk to you later. Take care, and bye for now.